Hello, welcome to the Crux Spotlight podcast. Crux Product Design is a leading international design agency that works with a wide variety of organisations. I'm Dominic Walters, and if you've seen previous editions of this podcast, you'll know that normally I interview key members of Crux about their work and why it's important for clients. Today we're doing something a bit different. We're going to be talking to the interns, people who have come from university to work on placement at Crux, to hear what they think about working there and what they think makes it so special. So now we're going to hear from four current interns. We're going to hear from Caitlin Granger-Spivey, we're going to hear from Laura Burton, James Wainwright and Andre Roberts.
Hey Caitlin, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, could you tell us a bit about yourself and the work that you do here at Crux?
I'm Caitlin Granger-Spivey. I'm a mechanical engineering intern here at Crux, and I have been focusing mainly on CAD and design and front-end design during my placement so far. And I've been really enjoying it because the company is great at supporting exactly what I want to do in my placement and really pushing that. And that is me. What about you?
I'm James Wainwright. I'm a mechanical engineer intern, exactly the same, also from the University of Bath. And the work that I've been doing so far has been a big range of things from work in the lab to CAD work to getting involved in some of the more scientific investigation aspects when it comes to these devices. Because for me, one of the things that I wanted to figure out coming to my placement was exactly what part of engineering I was actually interested in and wanted to develop further.
Why did you end up choosing this as a place to work then?
So for me, it's mostly because what I wanted to get out of my placement was the chance to explore as many different aspects of engineering as possible and kind of push myself in those different directions. So the fact that Crux being a small company, the fact that it has lots of different projects with loads of really different talented people working on them was ideal for me when I saw it. That's why I knew I wanted to come here, because it's the type of place where I'd, like you say, get to steer what kind of work that it was that I was doing. And how about you? Why did you come?
So when I was looking for my placement, Crux came round to our careers fair, as you know, and I had a lovely long chat with the great team, and I met one of the current placement students at the time, and she really emphasised the internal projects that Crux do. So Crux have their internal projects policy where anyone can suggest an internal project and it might get taken forward. So alongside our client projects, we spend time developing the skills and the company assets. And for me, that was something that I really liked the sound of because it made me feel like time wasn't going to be wasted and that I could really make the most out of my placement.
Yeah. We were talking about this earlier, weren't we? And the internal projects are particularly cool because they're the sort of like R&D that goes on behind the scenes that might just experiment with something new, and it's something where anyone at the company can propose an internal project that they think is worth working on, and then if that's a good idea, then it'll be approved, and then it will turn into reality.
It really means that we can, in our spare time, hone the kind of the things we were able to offer to clients as well, which I think is really important, so that we're giving them the best of our stuff without them having to spend loads of money on research and development, which is really good.
So what have you really enjoyed about working here so far? Like, what's been the best bits?
For me, my favourite part of my placement so far has been how led it's been by myself and how much independence I've been able to grow from that. So the company is really good at letting placement students drive their placement and decide what they want to work on. I have really wanted to develop my CAD skills, and this has helped me develop my confidence in that area, which has been really good. And it's been nice and eye-opening to see myself be able to develop that, and that's really nice. What about you? What do you find eye-opening about your experience so far?
I mean, absolutely the same. First of all, like the fact that you can direct it is brilliant. what I would add to that is, yes, you can direct it, but there's also a huge range of work that you could direct it towards. There's so much that goes on at Crux that there are any number of projects, different types of things that you can get involved in, and that for me was something that I thought I knew a little bit about, but didn't quite realize until we got here, and then you just see all the different things that are going on, and that's been really exciting, to jump in and get involved with all of those.
It's really great as well that because there's such a huge range of work, and as a placement student, when you join, you only just scratch the surface and you barely know what any of that is. But what I really like is that the company, they take what you're interested in and they use that to kind of navigate you into projects that you might not know you're necessarily interested in, or things that you might not know you're interested in, and they kind of pull kind of things out of you and show you things that you didn't know you'd necessarily enjoy, which just helps you develop your passion for the placement. So it's great. What do you like the most about the way Crux works then?
So one of the things coming here that I didn't fully appreciate until we all got stuck in is how integrated the interns are in everything that the company does. I know from some of my friends at other companies that your internship there might be completely parallel to what the company actually does, and if you weren't there and your project didn't exist, it wouldn't really affect anyone else. But here the interns are working in every team. They're doing lots of the work in the lab. They're in all the meetings. And it's brilliant for us because we get exposure to all of those things, to all of the conversations that people with much more experience than us are having. We get to see how that works, and I'm really looking forward to going back to uni with all that experience, and then also into more work after that, having seen how it's done by some of the best.
Yeah, it's really great, isn't it, that they really trust their interns here as well. We're put into all these different departments and we're treated as though we are exactly the same as anyone else that would work here. They really value our opinion. That was one thing that really surprised me when I joined, was how trusted I was at times, particularly to start off with. I did start a little bit feeling out of my depth, but the support as well is incredible. Everyone here is so knowledgeable and you can ask anyone a question without them judging you at all. Which is really nice.
Yeah, that's a very, very important point. Like, there are some of the loveliest people here. Not even some of, just all the people here are some of the loveliest that I've ever met, and certainly that I've ever worked with. But how do you feel like the thing as a whole so far has been for you and your kind of, I guess, personal development?
So the fact that everyone is so nice and helpful really kind of creates this warm environment, and it really kind of almost fosters your personal growth, which has been really nice. So I do feel like I've been able to grow a huge amount in my confidence, knowing that people trust me and understand my opinion, and if I get something a little bit, or if I don't quite understand something, they take the time to explain it to me and are really good about that, and everyone's really helpful. So yeah, that's really helped me feel a lot more confident in the role. And then in terms of like just being able to, the amount of skills that I've managed to grow in this placement just in 6 months feels incredible. Just from soft skills such as leading projects, to obviously your more core skills such as CAD, such as feeling more confident on equipment, understanding a lot more about electronics, which is something I wanted to do as well. It's been really great. I've loved it. How about you? Have you had any change? Do you feel like it's been a benefit to your personal growth as well?
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with all of that. I think some of the chief things that we've got to do and been exposed to have meant that like we come out with much better skills than we would have anywhere else. So yeah, I think it's been really good.
What interests you personally the most then about your work at Crux?
I mean, there's lots of things really, but one of the projects that I'm working on at the moment, probably the one that's taking up the most of my time, is this incredibly cool inhaler project. It's one of those ones where, as a company, we're taking it from the very start, like idea generation, concepting, how are we going to do this, right through to, well, not yet, but we're going to be taking it right through to full production. And as you can imagine, the range of challenges, but also the range of skills that are encompassed by that is fantastic for me as an intern to come in and get to see and get to experience and get involved with. So that's what I'm really excited about, and I'm particularly excited about this one because some of the mechanics of this device are so intricate and so clever that to get to see them and work on them is really exciting. But it also comes with loads of challenges, and so the solving of those challenges, especially with things being on such a small scale, is really interesting.
That must be a really interesting project for you as well, because even though you've spent all your placement on it so far and you've still got 6 months of that to go, you're only going to scratch the surface of a tiny part of it because it's such a long project, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And do you really enjoy kind of being able to follow it straight from the start then to the end?
Yeah, it will be hopefully very cool in a few years' time to see that thing and then think, oh yeah, I can think of all the different aspects within that I helped shape or change that are only in there the way that they are because of a piece of work that I did. So yeah, definitely look forward to that. But do you have any like personal favorites from your time so far?
Yeah, so I've enjoyed all the projects I've been on, but kind of one of Crux's speciality is these digital surrogate devices, DSDs, as you know, and these are able to kind of measure just anything you want. So this could be from force to acceleration. We have different DSDs that can do different things, and I've been able to work on designing a lot of these DSDs, and we'll take the form factor of a device, strip out its insides and replace it with our own electronics so that we can measure these things, and clients really enjoy these. And I've been able to follow a project through from start to end, building some of these, and I've really enjoyed that. That was I really enjoyed that project because at the start I really felt out of my depths when I started the project, and it was very nerve-wracking as I got to lead that project. But everyone is just so great. They create such a warm environment at this company, and the diversity of knowledge is incredible. So you can just feel like you can ask anyone for help and support or advice on different things. So when I came up with issues that I needed to solve, there was a huge support team there to help me solve those problems, which I really enjoyed.
And I've seen some of these DSDs, and once they are finished, they are incredibly cool. So what's next? What are you looking forward to? We've got 5-6 months left. What big things are you looking forward to coming up?
So for me, obviously, since we were at uni before this, we never really got to see the real world applications, and it's been great these past months being able to see the real world applications of the engineering we've learnt at university. So I'm just looking forward to spending another 5-6 months doing that and kind of seeing what other projects and what little things fall where, which is really good. And I'm looking forward to being able to develop more of my skills. How about you?
I totally agree. We'll see how it feels going back to uni after this, but yeah, I'm really excited because I feel like we're at a point now where we've done a whole lot of learning, going from where we were at the start of placement, knowing very little about the real world of engineering to where we are now. So it's now just a case of putting that into practice and hopefully creating some really impressive stuff with it.
Great. So thanks for chatting. It's been really good to catch up with you, and I hope you enjoy the last 5-6 months of your placement.
Same to you, Caitlin. Thank you very much.
Hi, Laura.
Hello.
Could you tell me a bit about yourself and what you do at Crux?
I'm Laura Burton. I'm studying engineering design at the University of Bristol, and I'm currently on a placement year at Crux within the mechanical engineering team. In my 6 months at Crux, I've been able to work on a really broad and interesting range of projects, doing activities from testing to prototyping to data processing. It's been a really great experience so far. What about you, Andre?
I'm Andre Roberts. Like you, I worked at Crux for about 6 months in the mechanical engineering department as an intern, and I've been able to work on a wide range of client and internal projects in areas like mechanical design, physical testing and specifications. What attracted me most to Crux was just from the start, from the recruitment and interview process, being able to speak to the recruits on the phone in a really friendly and casual way was quite unique. And then when I got to interview, I felt very valued to be interviewed by the head of engineering and then also one of the founders of the company. And from there, it felt like a very personal recruiting process and made me feel quite valued even from the get-go. So that's what attracted me. How about you?
I would definitely echo what you said about the interview process showing the value that's put on interns in this company, and that being something that's very unique to Crux. I'd also say I was able to hear from interns from previous years about their experience at the company, and I heard a lot about how good the culture here was, and also about the fact that interns are given responsibility and are able to make an impact on the work that Crux does, which I think is something that's really special and something I was really excited to be able to do on my placement year. So that was definitely what I'd say I was most attracted to about Crux. What would you say it's like to work at Crux?
I'd say the thing that stands out to me most is the really high standard of work. And especially even after being here for about just 6 months, I feel like that high standard has really got through to my personal and outside of work life. So sort of the chief example is that in university projects that we've had or assessments that we've had even on this year, I feel like I'm already taking that high standard out of work and applying it elsewhere. So things that I would have been happy with in my last 2 years of uni, I'm not happy with it until I get it to a really, really high standard. And I think that has just come from being in this environment and seeing everyone else work and knowing what's expected of the work here.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree. I think the high standard was a really eye-opening thing coming here, and definitely something that's going to put me in good stead going back to university. The other thing I'd say about being at Crux is that a lot of the work we're doing is designing products that don't exist, that no one else in the world has ever made before. And I think being able to learn in a place where you're right on the cutting edge of technology in the industry is a really great experience. And I think it's something that's really exciting about Crux, and it means that I'm taking pride in every single piece of work I do here, which is amazing.
Yeah, totally agree. And what would you say you like most about the way Crux works and why?
I think for me, it's that really collaborative culture that we have at Crux. Everything that we're doing is based on conversation between people from loads of different departments and pulling together expertise from people all over the company. And I think it's also great that as interns, our inputs into that conversation are really valued and we're able to make an impact there and we're listened to. And I think that way of working where you're always trying to get the best out of people and you're always drawing in opinions from across the company is a really, really great thing to have, and it's really exciting to be a part of. What would you say to that question?
I would say that the key thing for me is the amount of support around. So being able to sit next to people who are really good at what they're doing, or sat next to fairly senior people like the chief engineers, just a couple of desks away, and then being able to get the support you need from them, because obviously coming in as an intern, you've been at university for a while, but you don't really know much about a lot of the technical work you're doing. So being able to access support that easily, get in touch with people, subject matter experts or just senior engineers is really, really helpful. And I feel like as an intern, that's quite a valuable resource to have.
Yeah, it definitely helps with us learning to be around people who are experts in their field.
Yeah. How would you say being at Crux has helped your personal development?
I would say that when I came to Crux, I set out a few things that I really wanted to be able to get better at during my placement, and those were the areas that I felt that I was weakest. I was able to indicate that to my line manager, and within a few months I'd been put on projects where I was able to do those things and get better in those areas. So therefore I feel like I'm going back to university next year as a much more well-rounded engineer. And I think that's a really unique experience to be able to identify the areas in which you want to learn and be given that opportunity to do so quickly. So that's been a key thing for me in my personal development as an engineer, definitely. What about you?
I'd say similarly on the technical side, a lot of what I learn I will take back to university, and I think for me the key factor in helping me learn here is being able to learn so much on the job, there's a lot of freedom to do what you want to do at Crux, and I've been able to do some things I was already very interested in and sort of extend my skills in those areas. And like you said, I said from day one that I quite like doing physical things or watching something physically come together at the end of a project. And being at Crux, having the workshop and lab capability, being able to do physical testing and 3D print and prototype, being able to see all that real world stuff come together, I think has been really helpful and really helped me stay interested and really develop my interest in engineering skills at Crux.
And what would you say interests you most personally about the work that you're doing at Crux?
I think for me, being able to do the things that I knew I would like to do and then get better and better at them and learn from professionals in that area has been my most enjoyable thing. Being able to see stuff come together into the sort of physical world, being able to produce drawings and CAD for things that will eventually really be designed and produced, I think for me has been the most rewarding thing. How about you? What interests you most?
I think for me, the approach of when we've got a problem to solve at Crux is always a case of going back to the root cause physics of what's going on and really trying to understand it. And I find it really interesting how that physics is taken from just like an understanding of the current state of a design and how that's used to really think outside of the box and find new ways of approaching the problem. I find it really exciting, that combination of out there design with really understanding the science and the physics of what's going on. And I think for me personally, that's been a really amazing thing to be able to see. And I find that really interesting when I get involved with that.
What are you looking forward to most in the next 6 months for your placement?
I think for me, I've been recently on a project where I've been doing a lot of testing to work towards a more fleshed out and developed design for a product. So getting to a point where that design's coming together will be really exciting. And I think as well, just continuing to learn. If I learn as much in the second 6 months as I have in the first 6 months of this placement, I'll be really happy. So carrying on with that would be amazing. What about you?
I think for me, I've been on a long-term project for a while now, probably a few months, and I'm going to continue working on that. So it'll be really nice to see that phase of work finish and seeing the output of that. And throughout that, I've been able to present my work to the client directly, which again, I think is quite a unique experience probably for Crux, for the interns to be able to do that. And that continuing that progression of presenting my work so far and seeing how it goes, I think is what I'm most looking forward to.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point about having the opportunity to present your work. It's a really great sort of milestone when you get to do that. So it'll be a really good thing to continue with. Well, thank you very much for having this chat with me today. It's been really good.
Cheers, Laura. Thanks.